today we're going to try to learn how to identify an outliers. Again, outliers could be easily found if, depending on number, if you have a data of, let's say 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, let's say a bunch of threes, and you have the really odd one of 100. In this case, it would be really easy to tell what the outlier is. The outlier will be 100. But what happens if the numbers are closer? So that makes it a little bit harder to figure out an outlier. And the formal definition to calculate the outlier is a data is called an outlier if it falls more than 1.5 times the interquartile range, above the third quartile or below the third quartile. So what is an interquartile range? It's a range between the two quartiles. Range is a difference, so it would be third quartile minus the first quartile. Example 1. Given the data set, is there an outlier? Again, to figure an outlier, we need to calculate interquartile range. Interquartile range means that you need to figure out first quartile and third quartile. So we have to figure out the median mark first. So we're going to try to rearrange the data. Data should be in numerical order. So it starts with negative 3, 3, 6, 10, 12, 18, 23, 28, and then 30. And looking at this value, 12 is in the middle, so this is known as a median. Anything below this and anything above that is known as lower and upper half respectively. So the middle number from the lower half will be known as Q1, the first quartile. The middle number from the upper half is known as third quartile. So the middle should be between 3 and 6 over here. So average of 3 and 6 is 9 over 2. So this is known as your first quartile. And now the third quartile is in between 23 and 28. So the average of that will be 51 over 2, which is known as your third quartile. Which means your interquartile range will be 51 over 2 minus 9 over 2, which comes out to be 42 over 2, which is 21. In our previous definitions, we said that anything that is greater than or less than 1.5 of the interquartile range from Q3 and Q1 is known as an outlier. So first, let's calculate 1.5 times the RQR. So 3 over 2 times 21 will be 63 over 2. So anything greater than 63 over 2 from Q3 is known as an outlier. So 63 over 2 plus 51 over 2, you will get 114 over 2, which comes out to be 57. So you could think this as a upper boundary. So basically they're saying that anything above 57 is known as an outlier. Luckily in our case we don't have any data set that's greater than 57. And same thing to the other side. Anything below first quartile for that number is known as your outliers. So Q1 was 9 over 2 minus 63 over 2, which comes out to be negative 54 over 2, negative 27 as the answer. Again, I like to think this as a lower boundary. So do we have any number under negative 27 or above 57? We don't. Therefore, out of these data, we don't have an outlier. So let's look at our next example. The following is the NBA's player salaries in hundreds of thousands, and you're given 12 data. I want you guys to figure out if there's an outlier. Again, looking at this, it looks like 73 is probably the potential outliers because that's probably the biggest number and it's away from the most data. We're gonna reorder them. So 10, 10, 12, 12, 20, 23, 23, 25, 32, 40, 40, and 73. So we could see the middle number in this case will be in between 23 and 23. So our median will be 23. Once again, anything below it will be your lower half. So middle of the lower half, again, once again, is between 12 and 12. So Q1 has to be 12. Q3 is between 32 and 40. So Q3 has to be the average of those two numbers, which comes out to be 36. Therefore, the IQR is 36 minus 12, which comes out to be 24. And 1.5 times IQR, so 1.5 times 24 will come out to be 36. So let's look at the upper boundary first. 36 plus 36, just keep in mind one of the 36 is coming from 1.5 times IQR, and 36 happen to be your third quartile. 72, again, this is your upper. And 12 minus 36, which comes out to be negative 24, which is your lower boundary. Again, looking at this, we don't have any number that is less than negative 24, so we don't have an outlier towards the lower side of it. But we do have an outlier in upper side, which is known as 73, just like we expected, because 73 is greater than our lower boundary of 72. So 73 is an outlier. All right, to summarize, to identify an outlier, you need to find out IQR first, and then multiply the IQR by 1.5, add the value to Q3, and subtract it from Q1. Any numbers above and below those two numbers will be an outlier.